I was just waiting for my coffee. Nothing dramatic, no life-changing decisions, no grand thoughts. Just sitting in my car, windows halfway down. The spring air coming in warm and a little sweet. That kind of air that makes you feel like things are okay. I was parked outside a Starbucks, engine off, scrolling through my phone, watching people shuffle in and out of the door with their lattes and cold brews. The line inside looked long, so I figured I'd just wait until the app buzzed me. That's when I saw her. At first, she was just this blur of movement in the corner of my eye. I looked up and there she was, this skinny, ragged-looking street cat padding slowly between the parked cars. Her fur was matted, her ribs slightly visible, but her walk wasn't aimless. She was going somewhere. She was coming to me. And then she did something I'll never forget. She stopped at the front of my car, looked up at me, and with a little spring of her back legs, she leapt onto the hood. I flinched, honestly. I thought she might slide or scratch the paint, but she didn't. She landed clean, steady, and then I saw what she had in her mouth. A kitten, tiny, probably just a few days old, limp but breathing, wrapped in her jaws so gently I could almost feel the tension in her neck. She looked at me, directly, not past me, not through me, right at me. I don't know how else to describe it. It wasn't fear. It wasn't a threat. It felt like a request. So I opened the door. I didn't really think about it. My hand moved before my brain did. I pushed the handle and swung the door open wide. And just like that, she stepped off the hood, down onto the front seat, and placed the kitten carefully on the passenger side floor. Then, without hesitation, she turned and jumped back out. I stared at the kitten. It barely moved. Eyes closed, body trembling. I looked around to see if anyone else had just witnessed that, but no one was watching. A guy on a bike rolled past. A woman walked by talking into her AirPods. I was the only one in that moment. Me and the kitten. About 4 minutes later, she came back. This time, I saw her coming from farther off. She crossed the parking lot with a determined pace, another kitten in her mouth. I opened the door wider. She didn't even stop this time. She hopped right in, laid the second kitten next to the first, and left again. Now I was leaning over the seat, trying to adjust the kittens so they didn't roll or get stuck under anything. I didn't have a box or a towel. I took off my hoodie and folded it into a makeshift bed. A couple passing by slowed down. The woman said, "Is that a cat in your car?" I nodded. "She's bringing me her babies." The man raised his eyebrows. "Seriously? Seriously?" And right then, like she was listening, she came back with a third. At this point, a small crowd was forming. People had their phones out. I could hear some clicking. A barista from inside Starbucks came out, holding a pink drink and staring. Someone said, "Is this for TikTok?" Another whispered, "That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." I was still in shock. 3 kittens now lay in my hoodie, all breathing, all warm. I didn't know what to do. Call animal services? A vet? Was she going to bring more? About 5 minutes passed, and people started drifting away. But I stayed frozen, half standing in the open door, watching the direction she had gone. And sure enough, she appeared again. Slower this time, tail lower. She looked exhausted, but she had a 4th kitten. I stepped back. She climbed in gently, like her legs might give out. She put the last kitten down, then paused. Her body didn't move, but her head turned toward me. We just looked at each other. That was the moment that cracked me. Not because I'm some kind of animal expert. Not because I'm a hero. But because I've never been trusted like that. Not by something wild. Not without words. She stepped out again. This time, instead of leaving, she curled up right under the open door, tail around her body, eyes half closed. I sat down slowly in the driver's seat. The coffee app buzzed on my phone. I didn't even look at it. Inside my car were 4 tiny lives, warm and helpless. And outside, a mother who chose me. That's how it started. Just a coffee run. And now, I had someone else's whole world in my front seat. I didn't move for a good minute. Just sat there in the driver's seat, door still open, hand on my knee, watching this mother cat rest beneath the doorframe like it was home. 4 kittens huddled together in my hoodie on the passenger side floor. It felt unreal, like a scene from a movie, but it was realer than anything I'd experienced in months. Eventually, I snapped out of it. I needed to do something. I leaned over and checked the kittens, still breathing, still warm. But the floor of the car wasn't ideal. I reached into the back seat and grabbed a reusable grocery bag, emptied it, folded my hoodie up with the kittens still inside, and gently placed them in the bag. Then I set it on the passenger seat. That's when someone tapped on my window. "Excuse me, do you need help?" It was the barista who'd come out earlier, holding a tray with 3 drinks. She looked concerned, but also curious. I nodded. "Do you have a box? Or maybe an old towel or something?" She blinked, looked around. "Hang on. I'll check inside." As she turned, a man walked up, maybe in his 60s, gray beard, baseball cap. "What's going on here?" "I saw a crowd earlier." I gestured to the cat under the door. "She's been bringing me her kittens." He leaned in. "No way. Way? For so far." He laughed a little, but it was more disbelief than humor. "That's wild." A few more people started gathering again. I guess the story had begun to spread. A woman crouched near the open door and peered inside. "Oh my God, they're so tiny." Another guy asked, "Are you going to keep them?" I don't know," I said. "I'm just trying to make sure they're safe for now." The barista returned with a cardboard box and a folded dish towel. "This is all I could find. Hope it helps." "It's perfect," I said. I gently transferred the kittens to the towel-lined box. They stirred slightly but stayed close together. The mother cat got up and sniffed the box once, then circled the car again. She didn't seem afraid. She didn't rush, just walked around like she owned the place. And maybe she did. Someone behind me said, "You should live stream this." People would go crazy. I don't know why I listened, but I opened my phone and hit the live button on Instagram. I propped it up on the dash with a sunglasses case. "So," I said to the camera, "this stray cat just brought me 4 kittens. Right into my car." I was literally just waiting for coffee. Comments started rolling in fast. "What? No way that's real. Show the kittens. She chose you." I tilted the camera toward the box. The kittens squirmed. One let out the faintest squeak. More people stopped by. Some waved to the camera. One woman in scrubs knelt down and said, "Do you need help?" "I'm a vet tech." "Actually, yeah," I said. "Are they okay?" She checked each kitten quickly. "They're young. Maybe a week. No obvious issues. You're lucky she brought them to you." "Feels like she's the lucky one," I said. She smiled. "No, cats don't trust easily. She chose you for a reason." Right then, the mother cat jumped back into the car, without a kitten this time. She sniffed the box, looked at me, then settled into the space behind my seat. It was like she was claiming the car. The live stream kept going. One person commented, "You need to name them all." Someone else, "Don't let anyone take them. Keep them together." And then came a message that froze me. Someone just said they saw a 5th kitten. What? I looked at the cat. She was resting, calm. But could there really be another one? The woman in scrubs read my face. "Sometimes there's a runt. Last one born, smallest. She might go back for it." A kid nearby tugged his mom's sleeve. "Can I have one?" She laughed. "Let's not take someone's babies." But then a teenager stepped up and said, "I'll take the gray one." "No," I said, a bit too quickly. "They're not ready. They need their mom." He shrugged and walked off. The barista came back again. "I got you a water. And a sandwich. You've been out here a while." I took it, grateful. "You didn't have to." "I know," she said. "But I wanted to. This is kind of amazing." I nodded. "Feels bigger than it looks." She looked down at the kittens. "You think she's done?" "I'm not sure. I keep thinking she'll bring another." And then, as if on cue, the cat stood up, stretched, and jumped back out. The live stream exploded. "She's going back. OMG, it's real. Follow her." I didn't follow. I stayed. If there was a 5th kitten, she'd bring it. She trusted me. One woman nearby whispered, "That cat knows exactly what she's doing." I leaned back in the seat, looked at the box, at the people, at the live comments flying up the screen. This wasn't just a moment. This was something else. A turning point. A story that was unfolding in real time. And somehow, I was in the middle of it. It was almost 30 minutes before she came back. The sun had shifted, casting longer shadows across the parking lot. The crowd had thinned. Most people had gone back to their lives. A few stayed nearby, pretending to scroll on their phones, but I could feel they were still watching. My live stream was still running, and the comments were slowing down but steady. Everyone waited. Then I saw her. She moved slower now. Her head was low, her tail dragging slightly. But in her mouth, barely visible beneath her jaw, was a tiny ball of fur. The 4th kitten. I stood up quickly, moving toward the car door and opening it wider. She made her way across the parking lot with shaky determination. A few people gasped softly. She jumped into the car, barely. Her back paw slipped slightly on the door frame. I caught myself reaching out to help, but she recovered. She walked over to the box on the seat and gently placed the kitten in with the others. Then, she turned and hopped down. But instead of walking away, she collapsed right under the car, curling into herself on the pavement. She was done. The barista, Amy, she had told me her name earlier, brought out a large cardboard box. "Found a bigger one," she said, "and a couple old towels." "You're amazing," I said. We transferred the kittens carefully, placing the towels around them like a nest. I closed the box flaps halfway so air could get through but keep the light low. Amy looked at the cat under the car. "She doesn't look good." "I know," I said. I crouched next to the car and spoke softly. "You did good. They're okay. You did good." She didn't move, just kept breathing, her sides rising and falling slowly. I pulled out my phone and called Hannah, a friend of mine who volunteered at a local animal shelter. She picked up after 2 rings. "Hey, it's me. Listen, I have a situation." She listened quietly as I told her what happened. I could hear the smile in her voice when she answered. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't go anywhere." When I looked up, Amy was already clearing out the passenger seat. We placed the new, larger box on the seat and secured it with the seatbelt. I grabbed a spare t-shirt from the back and folded it over the top for shade. The mother cat still hadn't moved. A young couple approached. We saw the live stream. "Is she okay?" "She's exhausted," I said. "She's been carrying kittens all afternoon." The woman knelt beside the car and reached her hand out, stopping just short of touching. "Can we help?" "Honestly, just being quiet is probably helping most." They nodded and stepped back. I sat down in the driver's seat, door open, feet on the ground. Amy stood next to me, arms crossed. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. "Me neither." The cat stirred slightly, lifting her head just enough to look at me. Her eyes were glassy, but she blinked once slow. Then she put her head back down. 15 minutes later, Hannah pulled up in a gray SUV. She stepped out, already holding a pet carrier and a tote bag full of supplies. "So," she said, grinning, "you've got yourself a feline situation. That's one way to put it." She knelt by the car, looked under, and whistled softly. "She's wiped. Poor girl. But she's not injured. Just spent." She brought every one of them here, one by one. That's what moms do. We tried to coax the cat out with treats. Then with gentle voices. She didn't budge. "She's scared," Hannah said, "and probably doesn't know what's coming next." "I don't think she wants to leave them," I said. "Can you lift her?" Gently. I hesitated, then crouched and reached under slowly. My fingers slid under her chest. She didn't resist. She didn't growl. She just looked at me. I picked her up like a fragile vase and carried her to the car. She didn't struggle. I opened the back door and placed her on the seat. She immediately crawled forward and stuck her head into the box, checking every kitten. Then she lay down across the edge, half in, half out. Hannah smiled. "I've got a spot at the shelter. Warm room, low lighting, soft bedding." Amy looked at me. "Are you going to let her go?" I looked at the cat, at the kittens. "I don't think she wants to go without me." I opened the driver's door and sat down. The cat looked up at the sound. She stood, hopped off the back seat, and walked to the front. She jumped up beside me and curled into a ball on the passenger seat. Hannah raised an eyebrow. "That settles it." We loaded the kittens securely. Hannah gave me instructions, quick and clear: what to feed, how to keep the temperature stable, what to watch for. "I'll come by tomorrow," she said. "But for now, just get them home." I nodded. Turned the key. The engine hummed to life. The cat didn't flinch. I looked in the rearview mirror. The box sat steady, her little bodies shifting slightly under the towel. The cat beside me breathed slow, steady. Her eyes were closed. Amy waved from the curb. Hannah gave a thumbs up. I pulled out of the parking lot slowly, careful not to jostle anything. And as I turned onto the street, I whispered to myself, "I came for coffee, and I'm leaving with someone's whole world in my back seat." It had been almost 3 weeks since that day in the parking lot. 3 weeks since a tired, determined street cat jumped onto my car and handed me the most unexpected responsibility of my life. Since then, things had been a blur: calls, vet visits, warm bottles, sleepless nights. I kept them with me for the first stretch. The cat needed time to recover, and the kittens were too small to be moved. But once they were stronger, I brought them here, to the shelter where I knew they'd be safe. Now, I was pulling into the small gravel lot of the local animal shelter where Hannah worked. I parked under a tree and stepped out, holding a small bag of kitten food and a soft blanket I thought they might like. Inside, the shelter felt more like a cozy daycare than a facility. Warm lights, soft music playing from somewhere in the corner, and the quiet sounds of mewing and gentle paws against linoleum floors. "Hey, you're back," Hannah called from the front desk. "They're in the back room. Go ahead." I followed the familiar hallway and stepped into the room that smelled like clean towels, warm fur, and just a little bit of kibble. And there they were. The 4 kittens, now chubbier, fluffier, eyes wide open and full of energy, were tumbling over each other in a soft fabric tunnel shaped like a caterpillar. One chased the tip of another's tail. Another pounced on a dangling toy hanging from the ceiling. And in the middle of it all, stretched out on a padded mat, was their mother. She wasn't the bony, frantic cat I had first met. Her fur had been brushed out and cleaned. Her eyes were calm. Her ears flicked back and forth as she watched her babies, but her body language was relaxed. She looked peaceful. She noticed me. Her eyes found mine, and her ears perked slightly. She didn't get up, didn't run or hiss, just watched. Then, almost lazily, she blinked. Hannah appeared behind me. "She's changed so much. You should have seen her the first day. Wouldn't let anyone near. Now she lets us pet her during feeding. She looks like she belongs here," I said. "She's one of the favorites. Staff calls her Mama June." I smiled. The kittens were still full of chaos. One tried to scale a small cat tower, slipped, and landed in a pile of his siblings. "They're all healthy?" "Perfectly. We did full checkups. They'll be ready for adoption in a few weeks. We've already got people asking." I crouched down near the low fence that separated the cat room from the hallway. One of the kittens, gray with a white stripe on his nose, came bounding over and meowed up at me. "Hey there," I said, reaching a hand over. He sniffed my fingers, then batted at them with tiny claws. "He remembers your scent," Hannah said. "They all do. You were their first safe space." That hit harder than I expected. I sat down on a nearby bench, just watching. The movement, the noise, the life. It was overwhelming in the best way. A younger volunteer came in with fresh bowls of food. She smiled when she saw me. "You're the guy from the coffee story, right? The one with the live stream." "That's me. We show the video during our school visits. The kids love it." I didn't realize it got around. "Oh, it did. You're kind of a shelter legend now." Mama June rolled onto her side, stretching one paw lazily into the air. The kittens scrambled to nurse, but she batted them away gently. Time for solid food. Hannah came and sat beside me. "Ever think about taking one home?" I glanced at her. "I've thought about it. But, I don't know. They're safe here. And together." "That's true. We'll keep them together as long as we can. Maybe even find pair adoptions." We sat in silence for a moment, just listening to the quiet chaos in the room. I stood up eventually, placing the blanket on the supply shelf nearby. "Well," I said, "I just wanted to check in. See them. You're always welcome." As I turned to leave, I glanced back one last time. Mama June was watching me. Her gaze was soft, steady, and for just a moment, it felt like she understood everything. Like she remembered every step across that parking lot, every leap onto the hood, every time she left and came back with one more fragile life in her mouth. And then she blinked again, slow and calm. Outside, I climbed into my car. It was clean now, vacuumed, the box long gone. But the passenger seat still felt like it held something sacred. I started the engine, sat for a moment, and looked at the shelter through the windshield. "Best cup of coffee I never got," I muttered to myself, smiling. And then I drove away.